Imagine a city that's basically losing every big competition it enters. That's San Diego before 1940. While Los Angeles was stealing the spotlight, grabbing the major rail terminals, the big ports, the Hollywood glamour, San Diego? It was the eternal runner-up. Its entire economy basically boiled down to three things: the U.S. Navy, some tourists coming for the beaches and the zoo, and real estate speculators hoping the next boom would finally hit. Population: just over 200,000 people in the city proper, about 290,000 in the whole county. That's roughly 1/10 the size of the Los Angeles metro area. This was classic small border town energy. Quiet. Isolated. Kinda stuck. But then, Pearl Harbor happened. And for most of America, World War II was a distant, terrible war across two oceans. For San Diego, it was the biggest adrenaline shot the federal government could possibly give a city. Historian Roger Lotchin calls this in his book Fortress California, classic military Keynesianism in action. The moment the Pacific Theater exploded into full war, Washington realized, we need a massive logistics hub on the West Coast. Yesterday. San Diego's location, perfect natural harbor, close to the border, already home to some naval facilities, suddenly became strategic gold. 1940 to 1943, just 3 years, the city's population jumped nearly 50%. By the end of the war in 1945, over 360,000 people. But the real explosion? The military infrastructure. In 4 short years, the federal government seized 30% of the entire city's land and built 20 new military bases and support facilities. The Naval Destroyer Base went from a tiny 97 acres in 1921, to over 2,000 acres by 1945. Camp Pendleton, opened in 1942, ***, 125,000 acres ***. Largest Marine Corps training base on the West Coast. Still is. The Naval Hospital ended the war with 241 buildings and more than 10,000. And then there's the industrial madness. Consolidated Aircraft, later Convair, right here in San Diego. At its peak, employed over 45,000 workers. They churned out the B-24 Liberator heavy bomber like it was coming off a sausage factory line. Early in the war, the B-24 had the longest range of any U.S. bomber. Total production across all plants: over 18,000. Making it the most produced combat aircraft in American history. But here's where it gets really wild: the people had to live somewhere. Tens of thousands of defense workers, sailors, Marines flooding in overnight. So the federal government basically said, fine. We'll build the housing ourselves. Enter Linda Vista. On a barren mesa, in just a few months, they slapped together America's largest single defense housing project, ***, 3,000 housing units *** in record time. This wasn't thoughtful urban planning. This was wartime blitzkrieg urbanization, pure logistics for the war machine. No time for zoning debates. No NIMBY meetings. Just build. Fast. That Fordist, defense-driven frenzy didn't just win the war. It completely rewrote San Diego's DNA. It laid the economic foundation for the post-war boom, cemented its role as a permanent federal client city, and turned it into the shiniest jewel in America's emerging Gunbelt, the military-industrial corridor stretching across the Sunbelt. From sleepy also-ran to Fortress City in under 5 years. World War II didn't just save San Diego, it created the modern San Diego we still recognize today. World War II ends. Victory parades. Soldiers come home. For most cities, the war boom fades, bases shrink, factories pivot to civilian goods. Not San Diego. The Iron Curtain drops, the Cold War kicks in, and suddenly, this city doesn't just keep its military muscle, it permanently tattoos Garrison City onto its identity. We're talking the highest concentration of U.S. military personnel anywhere in the country. The war didn't end here, it just changed uniforms. Two tracks running side by side defined post-war San Diego. 1. Relentless expansion of the military-industrial complex. 2. Classic American suburban sprawl exploding outward like pancake batter on a hot griddle. Interstate 5 slices north. I-8 punches east. Suddenly, the city boundary stretches into Mira Mesa up north, El Cajon to the east, sprawling, low-density, car-dependent neighborhoods popping up everywhere. But this wasn't random growth. Oh no. It came loaded with class and racial filters straight out of the post-war playbook. Think white flight, but the San Diego version was softer, sneakier. Restrictive covenants. Redlining maps. Up in the north coastal enclaves, like iconic La Jolla, they built gilded cages, exclusive, white, middle to upper class bubbles with ocean views and desirable demographics only. Meanwhile, communities of color and lower-income families got funneled south of I-8, into places like Barrio Logan and southeast San Diego. The freeways didn't just connect, they divided. Economically, San Diego branded itself the cradle of smokeless industries. Sounds green and clean, right? Nope. It meant high-tech defense, General Atomics leading the charge on nuclear tech and later drones, plus a web of aerospace subcontractors feeding the Pentagon beast. But to feed that machine, San Diego needed brains. Lots of them. Enter the ultimate, intellectual implant. 1960, the founding of UC San Diego. This wasn't about liberal arts for the masses. UCSD was deliberately plugged in as the civilian-facing port of the military research complex. Labs, contracts, classified projects, Cold War geopolitics had a loyal servant right in the city's core. The Berlin Wall falls. Soviet Union collapses. Cold War over. For a lot of American cities, it's just a geopolitical headline. For San Diego in the early 1990s, it felt like an economic apocalypse. Pentagon orders dried up overnight. General Dynamics basically packed up and left town, shut down most of its manufacturing here. Aerospace contractors shuttered factories left and right. Unemployment spiked to nearly 10%. Defense jobs, once the backbone, were vanishing fast. The city elite had to face the brutal question, if we can't keep building bombers and submarines, what the hell do we do next? The answer was already quietly germinating, planted decades earlier by one of UCSD's founding fathers, Roger Revelle. He didn't just help start the university, he seeded the idea that San Diego could pivot from guns to brains. And pivot it did, hard. Unlike Pittsburgh's slow, painful Rust Belt death, San Diego pulled off a lightning-fast switch to the knowledge economy. First big winner, wireless communications. Qualcomm, born right here, took military radio tech talent pouring out of the bases and built a telecom empire in Sorrento Valley. CDMA technology. Global mobile revolution. A huge chunk started in these low-slung buildings. Then came the Real explosion, biotech. UCSD's research spillover turned Torrey Pines into one of the densest life sciences clusters on the planet. By 2000, according to the San Diego Regional EDC, over 500 biotech companies crammed in. Third largest life sciences hub in the U.S., behind only Boston and the Bay Area. But here's the catch, this transformation came with a steep price. The job market turned into a classic hourglass. Top, six-figure scientists, PhDs, engineers raking in big salaries. Bottom, low-wage service jobs, baristas, cleaners, drivers, serving the new elite. Middle, gone. The solid manufacturing jobs that built the old middle class vanished forever. San Diego stopped being the rowdy sailor town. It became a playground for the creative class, labs, startups, venture capital flowing. But the entry fee? Skyrocketing cost of living. Housing prices climbing faster than a SpaceX rocket. America's finest city was now also one of its most expensive, and increasingly unequal. From military fortress to biotech wireless powerhouse in one brutal decade. San Diego didn't just survive the end of the Cold War, it thrived by betting everything on brains over bombs. But the new economy left scars, a hollowed-out middle, gated innovation enclaves, and a city that's prettier, and pricier, than ever. Fast forward to the 21st century. San Diego has grown up. City proper. Over 1.4 million people. The whole metro area. More than 3.3 million, making it the 18th largest metropolitan area in the United States. From a sleepy Navy town to a biotech wireless powerhouse to one of America's biggest, most desirable cities. But here's the twist, success isn't always sweet. San Diego is now staring down what urban scholars call the curse of success. It's one of the most expensive places to live in the entire country. Median home price. Blown past $1 million. Housing affordability crisis isn't just a headline, it's the single biggest threat to the city's social stability. Young families. Blue-collar workers. They're getting priced out and leaving in droves. Outmigration is real, and it's hitting hard. And then there's gentrification, full throttle. Downtown's Gaslamp Quarter. Once gritty and run down, now a nightlife hotspot with trendy bars and restaurants. East Village. Transformed from Skid Row vibes into luxury condos clustered around Petco Park, the Padres stadium that kickstarted the whole revival. But flip the coin, homelessness is exploding. San Diego County keeps setting new records for unhoused residents. Tents popping up under freeways, in parks, in the cracks between the shiny new developments. It's the most ironic footnote to the official slogan, America's finest city. Finest for who? The view is stunning, but the cracks are widening. San Diego's story isn't over, it's just entered its most complicated chapter. From military garrison to innovation hub to a city grappling with its own attractiveness. The beaches are still perfect, the weather is still unbeatable, but the question now is, can it stay livable for more than just the wealthy? Or will the curse of success push out the very people who made it thrive? Is San Diego doomed to become another unaffordable coastal elite enclave, or can it fix its housing crisis? What's your take on America's finest city's biggest challenge? Comment below. If you're hooked on these San Diego deep dives, like, subscribe, and hit the bell.